Hello everyone, here we are, Finale Mondiale. And a day today dedicated to qualifying for the Finale Mondiale races to come tomorrow. A 25-minute qualifying session today for our Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers to set the drivers that will go through to Super Pole, a competition that we will have this afternoon to find out who will be on pole for the world final race. It's Mugello that we're at. It's at Ferrari Races. If you want to follow us, please do. And it is a dry day, which is not one that we've had so often in the last few days here in Mugello, but air temperature is 19 degrees, track temperature 22 degrees. And we have 25 minutes on the clock for some 37 drivers. Yep, you heard that correctly. 37 drivers that will be out there on track. A mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers in total, including drivers, of course, from Europe, but also from our other regions as well, including North America. Also here with us is Ludovica, who's in the pit lane right now.
Good morning, guys. What an experience, what emotion for today. This is the last qualifying session of this season, of the season 2023. Here there is the car of Uchida. This weekend he took 2 wins in a row, so a perfect weekend for this driver. And then the car of Max Mugelli. Max Mugelli made a very competitive season this year, fought with the young drivers, Benz Valent, and for Max today the focus is made the best lap and the best qualification for start from the pole position or the first line of the Finale Mondiale. Here all the cars are settled up for start this qualifying session. Only 25 minutes of hot competitive qualifying, and so let's go to dive into this atmosphere and enjoy the qualifying of Trofeo Pirelli.
Babalus, one of the driver coaches there, as you can see. He alongside the Gianmarco Mazzialetti car that we can see there. And we zoom into the rear wing on Gianmarco's car. And there you can see the little different settings you make on the rear wing there. It's all millimetrically perfectly set up for the car to be at its optimum performance best for this qualifying session. So not only myself and Ludovica, but also Nico alongside me as well. The atmosphere here at Finale Mondiale is very, very nice indeed. Made even more buoyant by virtue of the fact that we've got reasonable weather thus far.
Yeah, and today, really, buoyed by the weather, the paddock is a packed place. You can already see how packed the pit lane is. On the slopes around the track, there are quite a few people already, but in the paddock, I mean, it's just bustling, which is really, really, really good. You said it, 37 cars vying for effectively 6 spots, because only the top 6, and it's not differentiated by Pirelli and Pirelli Am, will make it to the Super Pole session later on. One of the drivers who will have ambitions to be in those P6, even though he's, and I say that with care, only an Am driver, is Franz Engstler. And on that very topic, Ludovica is in the pit lane.
Yes, guys, on my left there is the car of Franz Engstler as a crowned champion of Pirelli Am at the round of Spa, but I'm here with Luke Engstler, the coach and the son of Franz. And Luke, I want to ask you, how do you prepare with Franz for this qualifying?
Well, I mean, we had a horrible weekend so far with 2 DNFs. Luckily, we secured the title before, but now it's full focus on a good qualifying, and then we hope for a good race tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Luca Engstler. Then, as Ludovica suggests, son of Franz Engstler. I mean, so much talent in one family there. Franz Engstler, who has had a phenomenal racing career through single-seaters and up into DTM, and now in the Ferrari Challenge, where last year he won the Cobra Shell Championship, elevated to Trofeo Pirelli Am, and by Jiminy, he's taken that and took that even before we got to Mugello. So Franz Engstler has got to be targeting that top 6. Alessio Donno is the Trofeo Pirelli champion. We can see inside his 488 Challenge Evo car. as the green light has come on at the end of the pit lane, which means the drivers can stream out now to get this qualifying session underway. 37 drivers. I mean, Nico, finding track space on the 5.245 kilometer circuit is going to be, well, suggest at a premium.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And as a testament to that is the fact that all of the drivers, well, pretty much all of them probably, are already fighting out of pit lane. But at other times, some drivers will bide their time, they'll wait a little bit. Now we get the impression that pretty much everybody's coming out. Color codes you can see, which will be on the very left hand of your screen. In a few moments, when relevant times have been set, will be blue and red for Europe and North America respectively. Obviously it doesn't really count, so there is no differentiation in terms of spaces allocated in the Superpole or on the grid among the categories. No, it doesn't matter. It's your fastest time, which is the first here, that we have a dedicated quali session for the World Finals. Previously it was based on position in the qualifying for the main races. But it's a little bit different this time, and I think we really like it.
Well, I was having a chat with Andrea Malatisic just before coming on the air here. He is head of Ferrari Challenge and head of Corse Pilota around the world. Global head. He is a very, very important person. And he was saying, how do you like the qualifying, Dave? And I said, you know what? I come from a showbiz background. And therefore, Andrea, for me, it's perfect because it's a real dramatic conclusion to actually even before the Finale Mondiale race takes place. You know, the theatre, if you will, of this Superpole is utterly fantastic. So credit to all the team that have designed this. And first part of the qualifying for Trofeo Pirelli is underway. Ludovica is down there with Alicia O'Donoghue.
Yes, guys, we are here on the pit with Eliseo. Eliseo, this is your first qualifying session as a champion. How do you feel?
Oh, now I try to find the best lap, but very focused for after this session the Superpole. So good.
Thank you.
Well, Eliseo O'Donoghue, he is obviously the champion for Pirelli in Europe. Matt Krzyzewski is the champion for Pirelli in North America. And we have Justin Rothberg, who took the title in North America for Trofeo Pirelli Am. And we already talked about Franz Engstler, who took that very title equivalent in Europe. So those are the champions for Europe and North America entering, but those titles don't really count for anything in this race, in this qualifying session. It's a clean slate, and whoever is on this quali grid has the opportunity to make it to Superpole, has the opportunity to make it to pole position for tomorrow, and obviously has the opportunity to make their mark and become world champion for Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am 2023.
Of the 12 or 13 years that I've been involved in the Ferrari Challenge and had the privilege to talk about these wonderful cars through their iterations as they've evolved over the years, in the dim and distant past. When I started this, we were running the F430 cars, and the 458 was the new car into the challenge. But I've always kind of labelled the Finale Mondiale race as the gold roof race because all the pressure of the championships are done and dusted. What we do is we pit the best of the drivers from right across the Ferrari Challenge regions into one winner-takes-all race. As we look at Daniel Schwerfeld on the pit wall there, yeah, it's all the gloves are off. Everything has been done with regards to the Trofeo Pirelli or Pirelli Am, and that is Johnny Kane, then Andrew Morrow's driver coach. You could see there as we watch right now the Roberto Perina car. Now, Roberto Perina surely is going to have something of an advantage today. The reason I say that is because he's been on the top step of the podium here in Mugello. He told a wonderful story on the podium yesterday of he visited Finale Mondiale with his father, and he says, one day we're going to do this and we're going to come here and we're going to drive and compete in the Finale Mondiale. And Roberto Perina is doing it, and look how quick he is. Sector 1 and Sector 2. Sector 3, not quite so good. It's 2:08.301, which is enough to give him P3 at the moment. Now, just so that you understand, and I'm not being patronizing at all, because I initially didn't. I thought that it would be the top 6 for each of the categories. That is not the case. It's the top 6, whether you're an AM driver or a Pirelli driver, that will be going through the Super Pole, Nico, as I understand it.
That is our understanding, and we have the same, because Shell and Shell AM,
Yes.
our other classes here, they have separate races, separate qualifyings. Only the top 6, obviously, per category and subcategory qualify, but our understanding is top 6, there is a line.
Overall.
Doesn't matter which color you are, red for the Pirelli drivers, white sunstrip for the M drivers, doesn't matter, top 6 go on. Only 6 cars in this quality session, and you can already see the topic of traffic we talked about already. There is Adrian Sutil, winner of the race yesterday. Winner of the race on Thursday, race 1, where he took the win in a quite robust way away from Tom Fleming, who led the race for 28 minutes or so. Then safety car brought the gap down, and Adrian Sutil took full advantage. Obviously, all the experience of a Formula 1 career rests in him, and he made use of that. And I think it's fair to say that he didn't have it all his own way this year, but you know, there is a title tomorrow, and Adrian Sutil would be one who would really, really like to add that title. For the moment, he adds the title of being P1 with 18 minutes and 42 seconds remaining.
He's the first Trofeo Pirelli driver, actually. And now and this is going to happen lap after lap after lap as we see the times come tumbling down, because all of a sudden, Franz Hengstler has gone to the top of the chart with Max Mugelli P2, then it's Omar Balkasoon. Let's change that and put some Tipex over it, because Nobuhiro Imada has now gone second and relegates Max Mugelli and Roberto Perina, as Simon Ladniak now goes P1. Keep an eye on the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, because it's going to be changing like a good thing.
Yeah, good thing that we have digital graphics and we don't have to do that manually, because that board would be moving up and down and everything would fall to the ground, and yeah, we wouldn't have any graphics. So anyway, this is what we have, and watch out, track limits is one topic, and we've seen that already in the previous qualifying sessions, where some drivers who would have been on the front row or the top 3 or 4, certainly in the top 6, got multiple laps disallowed, and therefore missed out on the top 6 and Super Pole. And that is something where Mugello, you know, being this winding track, where sometimes taking a little bit of liberty with the track limits, which allows you to take extra momentum around the turn, it's inviting, but equally it's being watched by the marshals in race control, and they will just say, that was just a little bit too wide, and therefore the lap you're on doesn't count.
Here again, Adrian Sutil then trying to find track space. Sector 1 and Sector 2 were very, very quick, but can't help but feel with the traffic ahead of him. What he's going to do now is use this lap as a setup for the next one, potentially, although he'll still have that traffic unless he can pass them on the start-finish straight. Let's see. His Sector 3 might be better than perhaps I've given it credit for. No, it's not. And he now drops down the order to P5. Roberto Perina is P4. Dylan Medler has vaulted himself up to the P3 spot, but the best of the lot is Brian Cook at the moment with a 1:52.059. And here's Roberto Perina then with a purple Sector 1 and a purple Sector 2. This could be a new provisional P1 time to come from Roberto Perina for Ferrari of Seattle. He goes from P5 to P1. With a 1:52.059. Brilliant job done by Roberto Perina, but Brian Cook just bests him with a 1:52.059. It was a 1:52.288 for Roberto Perina. Changing all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had that interview with Eliseo O'Donnell, who obviously has all the confidence of a champion, and rightfully so. He was talking about what he is going to do in Super Pole. Well, I think we all assume that he's going to make it, but, you know, red flags, all kind of traffic, and we've seen that in the previous session where even a localized yellow took some of the drivers who were on quick laps, and they had to slow down. There was nothing they could do about it, and all of a sudden, not only that lap was compromised, but the next one as well. Everything can happen in the Ferrari challenge. It usually does.
Yes. Justin Rottweiler Rothberg, the Ferrari of Palm Beach driver, who is our Trofeo Pirelli AM champion in North America. Sector 1 and Sector 2 are both personal bests. He was some hundreds down on overall best, but he could potentially make it all up in the final turn. His target is to get into the top 6. That's where he needs to be. Sutil is improving as well with purples on Sector 1 and Sector 2. Here comes Justin Rothberg right now then, heading towards breaking that timing beam. Will Justin Rothberg vault himself into the top 6? Not only does he not do that because others have gone quicker, he stays P12. Adrian Sutil now does go quickest, and he's the first driver to show us a 150 time. It's a 158.45. Matt Krajewski, Trofeo Pirelli champion in North America, is second fastest. Then it's Brian Cook, Roberto Perena, then Simon Ladniak and Dylan Medler. So it's a right split in terms of what challenges they come from. And by challenges, we got a red flag. We have got a red flag. So I was about to say that we've got 4 drivers from North America and only 2 from Europe in the top 6 at the moment. And the session has been suspended with a red flag. Just trying to see on my track map where we think that there is where there is strife. We're riding on board with Alicia Dono. So the red flag has been brought out then, and we will try and pick up on who has perhaps potentially fallen foul of something, and therefore the red flag has come out with. Now the clock is counting down, continuing to do so. I wonder if that will be paused. But as we speak, let's take a look at Andreas Berg Sorensen here. Is it Andreas Berg Sorensen? Yes, it is. And Andreas Berg Sorensen, look, just putting a couple of wheels into the gravel. And that spins the car right across the track. Andreas did a jolly good job in keeping that out of the concrete barriers. That would have been a scary moment for him. First met Andreas Berg Sorensen when he took part in the Winter Series in Dubai and Abu Dhabi right back in February. And he's really developed as a driver during the course of this season with Formula Racing. And Andreas Berg Sorensen, well, thankfully he managed to keep the car out of the barriers, and he will theoretically go again. And the clock has now been stopped at 14:42, so we are going to have 14 minutes and 42 seconds of the session still to go. From the collection, as you can see there, Dylan Medler. Session is going to restart at 13:13, which is 55 seconds from now. The 215 car of Dylan Medler that I mentioned is in the top 6 by dint of being P6 at the moment. A lot can happen, and as Nico so eloquently and articulately put earlier on, it probably will. And for now, Simon Ladniak is P5, and one driver that we've not seen post a time yet, and there's a number of them, but one of them is young Thomas Fleming. He's with Ludovica.
Yes, guys, very quickly. How do you feel, Thomas?
Sorry, I gotta go. I've got qualified.
Thank you, sorry.
So Tom then, who has 15 seconds before he needs to pedal the car out of the pit lane. We'll see what Thomas can do for HRO and FF Corse. He was beaten by Alicia O'Donnell to the Trofeo Pirelli Championship, but it's been another ding-dong battle between Tom Fleming and Alicia O'Donnell all season long, which has been brilliant for us as race fans to really enjoy. All his focus now is on A, making sure he gets into the Super Bowl, and B, making sure that he wins the Finale Mondiale race.
Yeah, absolutely. And he will, he'll be silently confident, I think. Well, he's not generally silently confident. He's very much taking his confidence and let's show. It was his first season in the Ferrari Challenge, and I think it's fair to say he lost quite a few points to Alicia O'Donnell at the beginning of the season. Ever since the midpoint of the season, I want to say, on points as well as on pace, he's certainly been at least on the same level as Alicia has been, so he will feel like, if I can continue that trajectory, I will have a good chance. But as we saw, Adrian Sutil, very quick driver, and don't discount our North American competitors. Matt Krajewski, who is in P2 for the time being. If you needed any proof that he was able to take it to the European drivers, well, it is already there. So it is going to be interesting. And Krajewski, obviously, he's already put his banker in. The likes of Alicia O'Donnell and Tom Fleming and Ben Svellen, they're still very far down the order.
And as we mentioned, we pitched together all the best drivers in Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am from all the regions. And just as the session was suspended, please bear in mind, we've got 4 drivers from North America who are in the top 6. Now, it's feasible that those drivers have less experience of Mugello than our European drivers. A number of the front runners are yet to show, it has to be said, but very good showing from the likes of Matt Gajewski and Roberto Perena and Dylan Medler and Brian Cook to put themselves in the top 6 so early on, and it's wise to do that. Bank a lap. You don't know what's going to happen, and with only 13 minutes remaining, it's going to be very busy.
Indeed, and I mean, as you already said, 37 cars, 5-kilometer lap, roughly, here in Mugello.
Yeah.
And it is a flowing circuit. There is not that many overtaking opportunities. And in just some parts of the track, even if you try to get out of the way, you can't just make your car disappear. So
No.
if you're going round there, not at qualifying speed, you'll just be in the way. Whatever you do, wherever you place the car, you'll be in the way. And that means for some of the drivers, they might, very likely some will have very, very good laps, you know, just disappear because of traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You make a very fair point there. You know, we talk about drivers who drive with extraordinary discipline, and they don't deliberately impede another driver, but just by dint of the car being there. And as you say, you can't make it disappear into thin air, so that does make a difference. Right, let's get back to it then, as we have the greens and we are ready. Take a couple of laps for the drivers to get the tyres and cars up to temperature. As we go into the, if you like, second part of this session now, it's Sutil from Gajewski, from Brian Cook, from Roberto Perena, from Simon Ladniak and Dylan Medler. We're watching the car of Mark Musso right now, the Ferrari of Ontario driver. Mark Musso, podium placer this weekend. I say weekend, it all started here on Wednesday in terms of competitive action on track. And Mark Musso, great to see him here in Mugello. And he is currently just running in a position that gives him P8 in class, but it's P14 overall. I remind you, irrespective of whether you're a Pirelli driver or a Pirelli AM driver, it is only the top 6 that will be going through to the Super Bowl competition this afternoon to decide who will be P1 when it comes to the Trofeo Pirelli AM Finale Mondiale race. Already we're seeing some cars exceeding track limits. Turn 4 is the culprit. Armin Arifpour being warned about track limits. That means that the lap that he's on at the moment will be discontinued. He won't be allowed to keep that time. You can just see Tony Davis there with the Mark Musso car, and also Hanna Laskowski. Have we seen a time from Tony yet? Yes, we have. Tony is P7 within class, but again, actually, the categories are academic. He is P12 overall, so he's got to improve some 6 places.
Yeah, I mean, it's academic in terms of where the Super Bowl will land him.
Yes.
Obviously, it's still better to be P7 than P22, because from P7 onwards, just to make sure that is understood, everybody from P7 onwards will start the race in the position that they finish this race, and we won't resort AM and Pirelli drivers. You know, if you're a Pirelli driver and that means you're P25 overall, that means that is exactly where you will start, and you won't be able to leapfrog any AM drivers in front of you. So only the top 6 will change potentially in the Super Bowl. Everybody else will stay where they are at the end of those 9 minutes 41 seconds which we have remaining. And the drama is building. We can see some of the Pirelli drivers who we didn't see feature previously moving up the order slowly. Tom Fleming just made it into P24, and there is Eliseo O'Donnell, one of those who absolutely have to increase their pace and have to improve their position. He's down in P34. And that lap is certainly one where he looks to improve. Very good first sector, very good second sector. So his trajectory very much is to go about his business and improve into the top places. Not necessarily challenging for pole position yet. 9 minutes remaining. The drama is getting thick and fast.
Adrian Sutil, Matt Gajewski, Brian Cook, Roberto Perena, Simon Ladniak, Dylan Medler. They are the drivers that are in the top 6 at the moment. Therefore, if the session ended now, those would be the drivers that would contest Super Bowl. We're riding on board with Eliseo O'Donnell. Then the target time is a 1:50.845. I don't think this is going to trouble that by any stretch of the imagination, as Eliseo O'Donnell crosses breaks the timing beam right now. So Eliseo O'Donnell then, I rather think that this will be the lap that will count for him. And we keep an eye on how Eliseo O'Donnell does now through turn number 1 as you climb uphill towards turn number 2. Let's give you a split shot here so you can see exactly what it's like from the driver's side perspective almost, and also how that car is performing now. Carlo and the team in the garage have worked really, really hard here, because I think Eliseo has got a relatively clear track ahead of him, and that is going to be really, really critical in my opinion. It is going to be this traffic, and if he can find clear space, which I think he can, as Tom Fleming goes to P2, a 150.557, just 1/100th slower than Adrian Sutil. So the order now is Adrian Sutil, Tom Fleming, Matt Kajewski, Brian Cook, Roberto Perena, then it's Simon Ladniak. It's Dylan Medler, who's dropped out of the top 6 as Eliseo Dono sets a purple Sector 1. Giving some vindication to what I was saying about, I think this is going to be the lap from him. And it's pretty likely that he might only get 1 lap. With just 7.5 minutes remaining before he comes up against some traffic. I think they've positioned him absolutely perfectly on the track. Sector 2 purple time would suggest that I'm not wrong, you know. And he's some 8/10ths cumulatively up. So this is looking like it could be a new provisional P1 position in this qualifying. Actually, whether it's P1 or P6 kind of doesn't matter that much. He just needs to be in Super Pole. And I would suggest that this lap is going to be enough to put him in there for sure. It's Sutil from Fleming, from Kajewski, then it's Cook, Perena and Ladniak. But here comes Eliseo Dono, who theoretically is going to knock Simon Ladniak out of the top 6 as he heads towards the timing beam now. Target time of 1:58.45. Take a 1:49.775 and put that in your pipe, as he says, metaphorically, as he crosses the line. And we've got a yellow flag at turn 14. So that means drivers have to be aware of that, and it also means that the lap is going to be compromised. So everything, the rub of the green, going Eliseo Dono's way, I would suggest, Nico, as we now have a red flag.
Yeah. Talk about timing, Eliseo Dono, great lap, but maybe a little bit fortunate in that he just got through that sequence, got past that point of turn 14 before the red flag came out, and some of the other drivers who were on quick laps have been caught out right royally, and Viol being one of them. And red flag, 6 minutes 22 seconds, and obviously enough time to come out again, do an installation lap and put a quick one in. But talk about traffic, it's going to be, you know, everybody's going to be out there, and there you can see one driver walking away. I'm not quite sure based on the helmet who that is, and we didn't see any car being stranded. And I mean, first things first, the driver is okay, whatever happened on the track, probably just car beached. And it is Henrik Viol, I think, based on our timing.
It is, you're right, Scuderia Prague driver Henrik Viol. What a shame, because Hendrik has had a really, really good weekend. And Hendrik will be disappointed that unfortunately, the car is going to have to be recovered. Ludovica down in the pit lane again.
Thank you. We are here with Carlo Dell'Orto for discover more about Eliseo qualifying session and his feelings for today.
No, very nice. At the moment, Eliseo is first, so we are super happy about that. It's a nice qualifying, trying to be in the Super Pole, so it's a news for Ferrari Challenge, but everybody is happy, especially the driver, and keep finger crossed to be in the top 6.
Thank you.
Ciao, thank you.
There you can see Eliseo Dono then on his way to that 1:49.775, which has given him P1 currently. And I think that was just timed to absolute perfection, because I think the likelihood with just under 6.5 minutes remaining, it's going to be so tricky unless you're first in the queue out of the pit lane. But then even then, you're going to have other cars that are coming out of the pit lane just at the wrong time. Yeah, it's going to be so hard to find the track space across the 5.2 kilometers when you've got some 37 cars, and you've still got drivers who have not set a time at all, including Michael Mathis and Nicolo Rossi. So it's going to be really, really tricky when the session does resume, and I don't think it's going to be long before they recover the Hendrik Viol car. The recovery team here at Mugello have worked so hard, and they certainly didn't need any practice in knowing how to recover a car, because there's been plenty that have found themselves into the gravel trap. There's Andrew Morrow, UK Trofeo Pirelli champion. He's way down there at the moment in P12 in class, P22 overall for Charles Hurst. He would like to get out there and be able to improve upon that, and he's certainly going to have the opportunity. But again, to labour the point, I think trying to find the space for you to be able to put in the lap that you want to is going to be really hard in 6 minutes.
Yeah, we just saw the Nicolo Rossi car you were talking about as one of the drivers who didn't set a time yet, and Nicolo has been really good and consistent this year in the European Challenge. Not looking too good for him right now. There you can see on the left-hand side Eliseo Dono, and this is the look inside the car. So he obviously is P1, and I think he'll probably feel like the 149.775 might just be enough. But equally, he'll also feel like he won't leave anything to chance, and he will want to be on the safe side. And if everybody all of a sudden finds another 2 seconds, he won't want to be able to react to it. Realistically, I think his lap is just with 1 second quicker than anybody. I'm talking anybody. And it's not about P1, it's about P6 or 7 eventually for him. He should be in a good position. In a good position in the pit lane is Ludovica.
Thank you, guys. Adrian, you are on the second position. How do you feel and how is going this qualifying session?
It's the first time of the weekend on the dry conditions, so I need some time to dial in, but it's okay at the moment, it looks like. And a lot of traffic, so you have to make yourself in a good position.
Thank you so much. Back to you.
Well, there we have it, from the horse's mouth, as it were. You know, it's finding that track position, and Adrian Sutil feels quite clearly that he's got more pace in himself and in the car. Whether he's going to get the opportunity to show that over the 6.5 minutes that remain, only time will tell. Still no information from race control as to when the session will restart. I didn't think it would be a long time recovering the Hendrik Viol car, but they're still doing that, and therefore we have no news as to when the session will restart. There's Luca Engstler on the pit wall, and there indeed is the car that he looks after, that of his father, Franz Engstler, the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion, who at the moment is certainly not in the Super Pole. Kim Eriksson gives us a big thumbs up. Nice chat with Kim yesterday. Really enjoying his Ferrari Challenge racing, and hasn't always had luck go his way, but I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will come. And where is Kim at the moment? He's way down, I believe, and we'll see. Red flag still showing. Kim Eriksson then. That's Franz Engstler going from, at the moment, the P31 place, P21 in class. So Kim Eriksson is just a bit above him, to be fair, going from P10 in class for Kim Eriksson, the Formula Racing driver. There's Adrian Sutil. There's the number 8 car that Nico was talking about, of Nicolo Rossi, who's yet to post a time on the board.
Yeah, and Franz Engstler, as you pointed out, I mean, he is way out of position. He's been so good and dominant in the European series, and obviously one of the favorites for the race tomorrow, but obviously from P21 in class, that would not be a position that would be very supportive of his favorite position. Favorite position in the pit lane next to a driver, Ludovica.
Yes, we are here with Roberto Perrina. Roberto, talking with the other drivers, they told me there is a lot of traffic in this morning and in this qualifying session. What do you think and what do you feel?
Yeah, there's just a ton of traffic right now. It's very difficult to find a gap to get a clear lap. I still haven't had a clear lap yet, but everybody's managing the same situation. So I think we just, for me, if I can just get a clear lap, I think I can put it in the top 3 and we can get into the shootout. Thank you.
Well, Roberto Perrina then, I told the wonderful story or he told the wonderful story on the podium of course, he was victorious here in Mugello, and loving being part of Finale Mondiale. I remind you that the North American drivers coloured blue and the European drivers coloured red. All of a sudden, it's 3 apiece in terms, if you were going to have a geographical competition, in terms of 3 European drivers in the shootout and 3 North American drivers, one of them being a North American Trofeo Pirelli AM driver, and that's Brian Cook, the Cookie Monster, doing a very good job in P6. So we are standing by then for all of the drivers to get going once again, once we get information to tell us when we are going to go back to this session, which has some 6 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock, and still no information from race control with regards to the recovery of the Hendrik Viol car, but I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be started very soon, or we'll be back into it very soon. So this is Finale Mondiale. It's an absolute first for our Finale Mondiale events, in terms of we've never had a whole day set aside for qualifying, and we've never had a Super Pole competition. Absolutely love it. because it really, really drives the drama. Adrian Sutil is currently P2. He set a time of 1:58.45. There is only one driver into the 49s, and that is Alessio Dono. Adrian Sutil, 1:58.45. Then it's Tom Fleming, Matt Kojewski, Roberto Perina, and then Brian Cook. That's the way it looks thus far. And you can see champing at the bit to get out there is Yuda Uchida, who is, at the moment, he's P2 in his respective class, but he's 4 places out of being in that Superpole shootout group. I remind you, top 6, fastest 6 drivers will be going through to this afternoon's Superpole. And if you're not in the top 6, then you'll be starting where you qualified. So, Alessio Dono, Adrian Sutil, Tom Fleming, Matt Kojewski, and Roberto Perina, and Brian Cook are those that at the moment are guaranteed a place. They're only guaranteed a place until we get the session restarted, because then it could all change once again. But finding the tarmac to be able to do that, I really think is going to be a tall order for all of these drivers. I've never seen the pit lane so busy. Bear in mind, there are 37 Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM cars in this contest, this wonderful qualifying session, which was only 25 minutes long. It's been brought to a suspension by dint of Hendrik Violskar being beached somewhere, we believe. And there, perhaps in a very, very good position, is Yuda Uchida for Rosso Scudiera, who's right at the front of the queue. I think it's Simon Ladniak coming right behind him. Simon Ladniak at the moment is not in the top 6, nor is Yuda Uchida, so they will be hoping to rectify that when we do get back to the session once again. Still no information from race control as to when the session will restart. And local time now is just about 1:30 as we take a look at the structure here in Mugello, and it's great to see so many Ferrari fans here to enjoy this Finale Mondiale weekend. There's certainly plenty for them to do in with a track activity which is packed, but also a wonderful paddock as well. There's confirmation of the top 6, as I've just mentioned it. Those that will be in Superpole. Just out, Bence Valent, Simon Ladniak, Dylan Medler, Yuda Uchida. Can any of them take places away from the 6 that are there? Dono, Sutil, Fleming, Kojewski, Perina, and Cook. We will see. Time will tell. The drivers have been on the track since Tuesday, Wednesday, and they've been doing lots and lots of activity, but they have not had so much dry weather running because the rain has been pretty torrential. Right now, let's have a look at some replays to music now. As you can see on the screen, the session is going to start in just 1.5 minutes from now. We'll go back to qualifying and try to find the 6 drivers that will be in that Superpole situation this afternoon. The top 6 at the moment are Alessio Dono, Adrian Sutil, Thomas Fleming, Matt Kojewski, and Roberto Perina. And Brian Cook. Now, Matt Kojewski has had a really, really strong season. He is Trofeo Pirelli champion, and of course, he is currently in the top 6 for Superpole. He's with Ludovica.
Guys, we are here with Matt. Matt is a very competitive session. Is for a lot of drivers. Sorry, and I want to ask you, what do you feel and the management of the tires? Did you decide with your team?
Yeah, very competitive for sure. Track conditions are a bit interesting this morning. Obviously dry race conditions, but almost change in grip. The sun is making a major difference. Right now we're going to hold on tires. We just made an adjustment on the car to go a little quicker and see how it goes. You're not safe in this format, so we'll see.
Thank you.
He's absolutely right. You're not safe in this format. Matt Kojewski, very interesting. He was saying that the track conditions, and I got the gist of what he was saying here, is that he's not going to throw a new set on there. I don't know. Matt Kojewski then, one thing he did say and one thing he did make out was that he's absolutely, as far as he's concerned, even though he is in the Super Pole at the moment, his P4 he feels is not necessarily enough to guarantee that, you know, so he's going again. One driver that isn't going again, you just noticed with the car parked up on the jacks necessarily, is Alessio.
Yeah, it didn't look like Alessio Donno was taking part, certainly not immediately in this session, which leaves him a little bit on an island, because pretty much everybody else feels like it's worthwhile going out, but then again, everybody else except him is not in P1. So there is a good reason for that, and there goes the Kim Eriksson car, goes through, as do all the others. There, Nicola Rossi, who we have already said it before, doesn't have a time to his name, so he definitely needs to improve, not only to try and get into the top 6, but to get anywhere up the order for the race later on. So the grid, or the track rather, is already very, very busy with, I want to say 30, maybe 28, 29 cars of the 37 already out on track, building temperature into their tires, preparing for what is going to come in the next and remaining 5 minutes of this quali session. And the fact that we now have the sunshine on the track certainly means that the track is going to evolve and is going to get quicker and will allow better lap times. And therefore, Matt Kojewski, I think, is very, very right in saying, well, you know, you're not safe in this. He is on an outlap. The 2-3 drivers who are not out on an outlap are Nobuhiro Imada, Adrian Sutil and Eliseo Donno, as well as obviously Henrik Viol, whose incident brought the session to a temporary halt. And there is the 21 car of Szymon Ladniak, who was second in the queue and seems to be now first on the road in terms of trying to cross the timing line and setting a respectable, better, quicker time, which ideally should get him into the top 6.
Here he goes then. He will use this as his installation as he crosses the timing line. Nico, you're absolutely right. He's got relatively clear track ahead of him. So we run the clock on Szymon Ladniak now around this 5.245 kilometer circuit that is Mugello. Yuda Uchida is behind him. So Szymon Ladniak making sure that he was in a position to be able to take advantage of the relatively clear tarmac ahead of him. So that he can, in the just under 4 minutes that remain in this qualifying session, try and move himself up the places that he needs to put him into that Super Pole shootout to come this afternoon. So, of all the drivers that are in Super Pole at the moment, we think it's only Eliseo Donno that he's not going to necessarily go for it again. So Szymon Ladniak does a personal best through Sector 1. He's building warmth into the tires all the time, and here comes Yuda Uchida, who's trying to do exactly the same. But Szymon Ladniak then, Sector 1 a personal best. You don't need every sector painted purple for you to have an overall improvement, but Szymon Ladniak certainly throwing that 4A Challenge Evo around, and already you can see he's now going to pick up traffic that has come out later from the pit lane, and that's the problem. You kind of get a one lap at this, even if you're first in the queue, Nico. So Ladniak again with a personal best through Sector 2. Now, personal best might be enough to put him into the top 6, and the Super Pole shootout won't necessarily be troubling the time of Eliseo Donno, but it's getting into that top 6 that he needs to do at the moment. Now, Ben Svalint also trying to do exactly the same, and he's posting personal best. You can see P6 and P7 on Szymon Ladniak. That's within class. What's critical is the overall position that they are in. Here comes Szymon Ladniak now. What is he going to post? Well, it's a 151.520, which is enough to give him P5. So that knocks Brian Cook out of the top 6 contenders for Superpole with just 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. Here's Bens Valint then. This is going to be a quick lap from Bens, I feel. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. Stays with that P7 position overall. Sorry, P7 position within class. So Bens Valint is going to try and go again. We've got 1 3/4 minutes remaining, Nico.
Yeah, and Nicola Rossi, who was on a good trajectory to at least get up the order, track limit infringement in Sector 3, and that means he's still stuck down there, and that means I don't quite know if he got just ahead of the timing line with the ability to do this lap and one more. If not, this is his last chance to avoid absolute disaster for him. Tom Fleming with a good lap. Personal best sectors all across our board, and we try to pick through that. Bens Valint being one of them, who's currently in P9, so he needs the improvement. Oh, and there is Bens Valint, who's almost taken out. And talking about taken out, running wide. Oh, this is very, very precarious. Bens Valint, who just avoided disaster in the collision and then had the other car in front of him running onto the gravel. I mean, this is, as a dear colleague in Germany from ours says, there is a zoo out there. Hello, Verena. Bens Valint really, really trying to get his car on the track, on trajectory for an improvement, while everything else is happening around him. That last Biondetti chicane. Now to the final turn of this lap. I don't think the sector times indicate that it's going to be a massive improvement. I think he's just got enough time to do another lap.
Is he going to get another lap? He's got 18, 17, 16 seconds to make it to the timing line. Yes, I think he is going to get another lap in, Bens Valint, and he's going to need it because that lap was compromised. So Bens Valint then goes for it again. He's got reasonable clear track ahead of him now. Anyone that crosses the timing line now, it's all over. Dylan Medler is going to finish his lap now. Dylan Medler, can he improve? And there you can see Alessio Dono, who at the moment he feels he's in a safe position. Don't know whether Dylan Medler is doing enough to improve here. Done a 38.1, a 34.9, and I'm not seeing any too many purple or blue sectors at the moment. Here comes Dylan Medler then for the collection, one of our North American drivers, and Dylan Medler crosses the timing line, and though there you can see at the moment it is Alessio Dono, Tom Fleming, Adrian Sutil, Matt Kajewski, Simon Ladniak and Roberto Perina. They are the top 6. I don't see anyone improving. Nico, perhaps?
Yuda Uchida may, and he just finished his first sector, 7/10 down, so he's still got a chance. Nicola Rossi, just to finish that story, he did improve, but only to P27. Yuda Uchida is maybe the one driver who still has a chance to get into that Superpole. He is third in class, so this is probably the worst he can be. He is still on a charge, 1.6 seconds down, but it really doesn't matter. What he has to focus on is that P6, and it's 151.752. That's the benchmark, 151.752. If he's quicker than that, he will be part of the Superpole. If he's not quicker than that, then wherever he finishes this session is going to be his starting position. Final turn. Trying to keep it on the inside, maximum speed, and then full throttle. 151.752 is Roberto Perina. It's going to be Perina or Uchida into the Superpole. It is a 151.898. Just misses out on that Superpole.
And Bens Valint.
Wow.
Bens Valint, who we hadn't picked up on, goes P6 and drops Roberto Perina out. So right in the absolute final knockings, Bens Valint did enough to put himself into Superpole, knocking Roberto Perina out of that Superpole situation. And wow, love the drama of it, and the drama was intensified by dint of the fact that we had a suspension in the session with that red flag for the stricken Hendrik Viol car. It's Alessio Dono, Tom Fleming, Adrian Sutil, Matt Kajewski, Simon Ladniak, and Bens Valint that will be in Superpole, and then P1 in Super going into Superpole. Alessio Dono, he's with Ludovica now.
Ecco, we are here with Eliseo. Eliseo, congratulations for this result. Are you ready today for the Super Pole? But I want to discover more with you, more about your strategy for today.
I'm very, very happy for the quali lap. A little mistake, but all good. A big thanks for my engineer, my mechanics, all my team for this car. It's very performance, the car, so now I focus for the Super Pole, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well done, Eliseo Dono. And he says he had a small mistake, so presumably he feels he's got a little bit more in him. 149.775, Eliseo Dono into Super Pole. So too Tom Fleming, so too Adrian Sutil, so too Matt Kojewski, so too Simon Ladniak and Ben Svalint. Then the final driver to make it into Super Pole, just knocking Roberto Perina out by 100ths, Nico.
Yeah, less than 3 100ths between Ben Svalint and Roberto Perina. Perina, well, he will start in P7, which is not terrible, but obviously he would have liked to have the chance to mix it up with the other 5 drivers in front of him. But now it's P7, and this man just beat him to it, Ben Svalint, number 86 in your program, number 1 in the hearts of Hungary.
Rosso Corse Ferrari Budapest, the team that engineered the car of Ben Svalint. For Scuderia GT and Go Motorsport, it is Simon Ladniak, who finished that session P5. Now, Matt Kojewski from North America is the Trofeo Pirelli champion, and Ferrari Beverly Hills and Alessandro Balzan, his driver coach, have made sure that Matt Kojewski had a car today that was enough to get him into Super Pole, and sure enough, he will be in that competition when it comes this afternoon. For Gome and Baron Motorsport, the former Formula One star Adrian Sutil driving the number 5 Ferrari Challenge 488 Evo. Well, he posted a time of 150.845. That's enough for P3, and that's certainly enough to get him into the Super Pole competition this afternoon. And then it's, as we were really in the Trofeo Pirelli Championship, in terms of the competition between this young man, the HRO and FF Corse driver Tom Fleming, who finished that session P2, and he was bested by a second by Eliseo Dono. And Eliseo Dono then, who's taken the P1 position, and he's definitely in Super Pole. Please make sure you join us for the Super Pole to come this afternoon. It is going to be absolutely awesome. From Nico and from myself, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.